35.4. What's in the 10 spot? The 3. Nice, good job. What's in the 1 spot? 35.4.
5.
Yeah, you're right. What's in the 10th spot? 35.4. 4. That's right. 35.4. How many 10s do we have? We got 3 10s. How many 1s? 5 1s. How many tenths? 4 tenths. So it might look kind of like this if you're to write it in a different way. 3 10s, 5 1s, 4 tenths. 35.4. Going to be looking at some problems that look like that today, so get to thinking about it in this way of drawing it out. 3 10s. How many 10s? 3. How many 1s? 5. How many tenths? 4. Notice how the tenths all say 0.1. Don't just write 0.1, write 0.1 because you need to let the person know there are no 1s at all. We're just talking about tenths there. 3 10s, 5 1s, 4 tenths, 35.4. You might also have to expand some numbers into the expanded form, like this. 45.6. Well, what's in the 10 spot? 4. So 4 tenths equals what? Equals 40. Remember this from earlier when we were looking at place value? And you expand it. So what's in the 1 spot? 40 plus 5. 40 plus 5 plus 0.6. So you just expand each digit. Like, okay, well, now the 4 actually means, it says 4, but it actually means 40. The 5 means 5, it's 5 1s. The 0.6 means 6 tenths. 0.6, 6 tenths. 40 plus 5 plus 0.6. Can you see some problems like that? You're also going to see some problems that just make you match up in the circle form like a word search. Fractions and decimals. Remember, fractions and decimals are kind of like the same coin, just looking at them from different angles. And remember that tenths are tenths. Tenths and fractions are tenths and decimals. So if you see 6 tenths, what's that in decimals? Fractions on this side, decimals on that side. 6 tenths is just 6 tenths in decimals, right? You just put the 6 in the tenth spot. Tenths. So it's 0. What? 0.6. Sorry about that glare. 0.6. Because there's a 6 in the tenth spot. What about the next one? 3 1/10. Well, what's that going to be as a mixed number in decimals? How many ones do we have? Oh, we got 3, so it's going to be 3 point something. But 3 point what, you may ask? Daniel, 3 point what? Well, we just check it out. Don't worry about it. How many tenths do we have? We got 1, so it's 3.1. Here comes the next one. 2 7/10. What's that going to look like in decimals? Well, what's in the 1 spot? 2. Nice. But 2 point what? There's more than 2, right? There's 2 point something. How many tenths do we have? You got 7. Oh, you're right. You got 7 tenths. So it's going to be 2 point what? 2 point, and then put the 7 in the 10th spot because you got 7 tenths. So 7 goes in the 10th spot, so it's going to be 2.7. Who said that? Was that you, Jimmy? 2.7. 2 7/10 is 2.7. So just like the last couple days, whatever is in the 10th spot goes in the 10th spot. Tenths, 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 tenths. If you got a 1, you just put 1 in the 1 spot. Tenths go in the 10th spot. That's a big thing that we're doing today too. Last but not least, You might see something that looks kind of like this, where they say, hey, we've got 12 tenths. 12 tenths? That's more than 10 tenths. Put that into decimals, they say. Think about how you're going to do that. Here's how they help you out. They say, you know what, I'm just going to collect 10 of those tenths and make that a 1. Because how many tenths are there in 1? 10 of them. 10 tenths, remember, aka the whole. AKA 10 tenths is 1. So they're going to say, you know what, I'm just going to collect all those tenths and call it a 1. Because 12 tenths is what? It's improper. It's an improper fraction. It's just not proper. You can't have 12 tenths. It's improper. You got to make it the 10 tenths, and then you got a 2 left over, right? It's not so complicated. So they say, you know what? I'm just going to help you out there, Daniel. And I'm going to give you a little help and say, I just put all of those 10 tenths into a 1. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All those 10 tenths just got circled up and rounded up. And they said, you know what, we're just going to call 10 tenths a 1. Because 10 tenths is a whole. 10 tenths is 1. But we've got some extra guys left over. Because we did have 12 tenths. So now we've got 10 tenths, aka a whole. We've got 2 left over. So it's going to be, what do we have? If we had to put that in a decimal, you wouldn't say, if you said 0.12, that's a totally different number. You would not say that. You would say 12 tenths is, well, the 10 tenths just filled up into 1 whole. And now what do you have left over? Oh, we've got the 2 tenths. So it's 1 and 2 tenths, also known as 1.2. So you just write the answer right in there. 1.2. So notice how to get that 1, we just circled up all the 10 tenths. We had 12 tenths. We said, well, shoot, 10 tenths is the whole. So that's just the 1. Just going to turn that into a 1. It's like taking 10 dimes to the store and saying, hey, can I have $1 for these 10 dimes? Like you have 12 dimes. And like, how much is that? So, well, it's $1.20. So you might just trade in all those 10 dimes for $1. And you got a whole buck. So 10 tenths turn into the 1. Just like 10 dimes turn into $1. But you still have the 2 extra dimes, right? You still have the 2 tenths. So it's 1.2. That's why decimals are used in money. You guys have been using decimals since you can remember. You just don't know it because it's in money all the time. $1.20 is $1.2. Same kind of thing. Got $1.20. The 2's in the tenth spot. The 1's in the whole spot. 1.2. 12 tenths turn into 1.2. What about this one down here? They might not draw it out for you. You just have to think about it. Well, what about 14 tenths? 14 is like having 14 dimes. How much is that? 14 tenths. Well, 10 tenths is the whole, right? So I'm just going to break it up into 10 tenths plus 4 tenths. 14 tenths is 10 tenths, which is the whole. So I'm going to just circle it. And then I've got 4 tenths left over. So I've got a whole and 4 tenths. I've got 1 and 4 tenths. 1 and 4 tenths looks like what as a decimal? It's 1 and 4 in the tenth spot. So it might look kind of like that. 14 tenths is, well, I got 10 tenths plus that extra 4 tenths. So I've actually got a whole and 4 tenths, which is 1 and 4 in the tenth spot, 1.4. 14 dimes, if you were to think about it as money, take it to the store, they take 10 of those dimes, like, well, I'll give you $1 for that. Here's $1. Here's a whole buck. So I got, oh, cool, now I've got 1 whole. But I still have those 4 dimes left over, don't I? I still have the 4 tenths left over, 1.4. And last but not least, we might have a bigger number like 52 tenths. How can we put 52 tenths as a decimal? Dang, 52 tenths. Well, I'm thinking 52 tenths would be 10 tenths plus 10 tenths plus 10 tenths plus 10 tenths plus 10 tenths. Is that 5 of them already? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus 2 tenths. So if you have 52 tenths, you want to think about, it'd be like taking 52 dimes to the store. And they're like, all right, well, I'll give you $1 for each of 10 of your dimes. 52 tenths is 10 tenths, that's a whole. 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 2 tenths is not a whole. So each one of those 10 tenths is a whole. So notice how the top number equals 52, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 2. So first of all, I just see, how many 10 tenths do I have in 52? So you could draw it out like that, or you might just know, well, shoot, Daniel, 10 times 5 is 50. I could tell you immediately, without even drawing that, I've got 5 10 tenths. I've got 5 holes in there. So you think about how many times does 10 fit into that big old number, 52? Well, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 times. So 10 tenths, 10 tenths, 10 tenths, 10 tenths, 10 tenths. It's 5 holes. And then what's left over? That funny little 2 tenths, right? So 5, and then you got 2 in the 10th spot, so you put 2 in the 10th spot. You got 5.2. You got 5 and 2 tenths, or 5 and 2 in the 10th spot. That's the kind of stuff we're doing today. Sometimes we're looking at big numbers and saying, shoot, how many holes do I have in there? Well, 10 tenths is a hole. Once you have 10 dimes, you got to boost it up to $1. You can't just keep cramming dimes in the little dime slot. It's like, no, now you got $1. And in this case, you got $5 and 2 little dimes still. So that's kind of how we're doing that today. Today's assignment is pages 16, 17, 18 in the book. Feel free to write a comment under this if you need more explanation. All right, keep rocking, guys.